what we're going to do today is we're going to take, instead of looking at the equation of a function like we did in our opener we had the equation y equals 1/2 x plus 1. What we're going to do today is we're going to look at the picture of a function, and we're going to use that picture to figure out what the y values are. Now, you'll notice here that instead of having y equals, we have f equals. So we have the function f of x in this problem. It doesn't change anything. It just says that the f values, the values for our function f, are going to be the y values. So let's do this together here. The first one here says that we want to find f of 6. So go ahead and put 6 in the parentheses there. And when we say f of 6, that means that this 6 here is what? Is that an x value or a y value? That's an x value. Good, Claire. So this 6 here is telling us that x equals 6. Now you don't have to write that down, but just keep in mind that this right here, this 6, and this 0, and this -9, and this 3, those are all x values. So if I go over to my graph and I find 6 on my coordinate plane, I'm going to go over to 6, and there's 6 right there on the x-axis. Okay, so if I want to figure out what f of 6 is, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to find 6 on the x-axis. Then I need to figure out where the function is. So relative to the 6 on the x-axis, Claire, which way do we need to go now? We're going to go up how many? 5, okay. So we're going to go up to the point right here, and we can put the coordinates here if we want. That would be 6, 5. So since we went up 5, what's the value of this function going to be at 6? It's not a trick question. 5. All right, so let's do the same thing for f of 0. Where does x equal 0? At the origin, right? So at x equals 0, that's right here. We're going to start at the origin, and which way do we have to go then to get to the function? We're going to go up how many? We're going to go up 1. Since we went up 1, f of 0 is going to equal 1. So we get f of 0 equals 1 there. All right, how about f of -9? What are we going to do? Okay, we're going to find -9 on the x-axis, because x is -9, and then go which way, Lucas? Down. We're going to go down how many? We go down 5. If we're going down, it's not going to be positive, but it's going to be negative. So the value of the function at -9 is, what do I write here? -5. So all we're doing here is we're finding this x value on the x-axis, and then we count how many we have to go up or down to get to the function. So f of 3, we go to 3 on the x-axis, and then which way are we going to go? Up. We're going to go up how many? 3. So f of 3 equals +3. In this example, we got the function as a picture. We know what the picture of the function looks like. In the examples we've been doing before, we've been getting an equation. So for this particular line, our equation would be f of x equals 3/4 x plus 1. And later on, we'll figure out how to get this equation. You guys will be able to look at this line and say, yeah, that's going to be the equation for it. But for now, if I would have plugged in 6 to this equation right here, I'm sorry, that should be 4/3. Got it backwards. If I would put 6 into this equation right here, then I would end up getting 5 as my value. If I would put 0 into this equation, I would get 1 as my value. If I put -9 in, then I would get -5 as my value. So by using the picture, I can figure out what these numbers are without doing all that math we were doing in our function tables. Does that make sense? Yeah. So it actually saves us a lot of work by being able to use that picture. A couple of important things about functions before we move on and do a couple more examples. First of all, the value of a function is the blank of the function at a given point. So the given point, this is going to be the x value. So how did we figure out what the value of the function was going to be? What did we do? We went to the x value and then so to find the value of the function, we go to the x value and then we count either up or down. So what we're measuring when we count up or down is just the height of the function. So the value of a function is just the height of the function. It's how high it is above the x-axis or below the x-axis. If it's below the x-axis, then the number is going to be negative. Yes. Good. All right, so the value of a function is just the height of the function. That's it. That's all you have to do. You have to find the x value and then figure out how high it is above the x-axis or below the x-axis. The other important thing to keep in mind is functions don't have to be straight lines. The functions that we've seen so far have been straight lines, but they don't have to be. So we're going to see in a couple examples here functions that are not straight lines. They're going to be curves. And we're going to see that it really doesn't matter if it's a straight line or not. We can still have a function. In this example, we see a function that is not a straight line. And what we're going to try to do still is figure out the values of the function at different points. The first one we want to do here, we want to figure out what f of 7 is. So what's the first thing I do to figure out what f of 7 is? Where do I go? So I'm going to go to the 7 on the x-axis, which is right here. And then which way do I go to get to the function? Diavian? I'm going to go up 3. So to get to the function, I have to go up 3. So f of 7 equals 3. How about f of 0? Where am I going to start? For f of 0. I'm going to start at the origin. And then to get to the function this time, I have to go which way? I have to go down 3 to get to the function right there. So since I went down 3, f of 0 is going to be negative 3. How about f of negative 8? Where do I start? I'm going to start at the origin and go where? Okay, so I'm going to go to negative 8 on the x-axis. So I start here. And to get to the function, what am I going to have to do? I'm going to go straight up 5. So f of negative 8 equals 5. And the last one, f of negative 3. We're going to go to negative 3 on the x-axis. And to get to the function, we have to go down 2. So f of negative 3 equals what, Jesse? Negative 2. So in this example, we have two functions graphed. The function f of x is a curve, kind of like what we saw in the last example. The function g of x is a straight line. Those are the kinds of functions we've been looking at recently. On the screen here, it's nice and easy to see which one's which because f of x is red and g of x is blue. On your paper, they're both black. So it's important that you keep track of which one's which, because if you start switching the f and the g, then you're going to get the wrong values. So let's go ahead and do the f of x ones first. How do we figure out what f of 8 is? Right here, f of 8. What do I do? Alice? Okay, so I'm going to go to the 8 on the x-axis and then go which way? Okay, I'm going to go up, you said 3? So I go up 3 to get to the function, so that means that f of 8 is 3. Good. All right, how about f of 0? Aaron? So we're going to start at the origin right here, because that's where x equals 0. And to get to the f of x, we have to go which way, Aaron? Up. So we go up 1. That means that f of 0 is, I'm sorry, 1. Okay, good. Bishop, how about f of negative 8?
Go left from the origin to 8.
Okay.
And then up to 5.
Okay, good. So the function crosses right here. It's at that point right there, so we have to go up 5. That means that f of negative 8 is 5. Good. Claire, how about g of 8? I'm sorry, you can't talk, can you? Brian, how about g of 8? We're going to go to 8 on the x-axis, and then we're going to go up 3. What do you guys notice about f of 8 and g of 8? They're the same thing, right? So those two functions are crossing right there. How about g of 0? Jake?
Start at the origin, go down 3.
Okay, good. We're going to start at the origin, then we go down 3 to get to g. So that means that g of 0 is negative 3. Good. Brett, how about g of negative 8?
You go to the left 8,
Okay, so we go to negative 8 on the x-axis, and then,
down 9.
yeah, we have to go down 9 to get to the function. So that's going to be negative 9.